hope you're hearing me. But here we are, day after all the rain. It is still probably in the 50s. It's got to be. Nice breeze though. Cooling breeze. Some things don't look so hot, but for the most part they do. I did take a lot of I took all my Phalaenopsis inside. I took my Vandatypes, of course, as you know. I still left my Cattleyas and stuff out here. But today I want to do a little bitty short video on my Stanhopes. I stumbled across a guy that I had never even seen before. Surprise, surprise. You know what? This has got to go inside because I am going to lose this. I see it already. See, this is not liking the cold. You see this front bulb here. This leaf. That is not good. Not good at all. That's my Unibulbon. Unificum. Not Enjovium, but it will always be Unibulbon. That is just such a cool name. And I do not want to lose that new growth. So this is going to go in with me in the greenhouse when I go in there eventually. But as I was saying, I took all my Phalaenopsis in. But I was also saying that I stumbled across the guy's video that I'd never seen before. And it was very interesting because he had some sort of a self-watering method for Stanhopeas. Now, I've seen those before, but his was pretty unique, and it was more on the decorative side. And I am interested to see how he does with that because I am skeptical.
Today I want to up these two Stanhopeas that I have. I have two of them, and I have them sitting here on the shelf, almost on the floor, and they're doing fine. These are fairly new for me, but not that big plants yet. But I want to do a repot on them. This is the setup that I have to keep them as moist as I can. They like the humidity around them, so therefore I have these faces. But if they decide to flower, the spikes probably come out underneath the pot, so therefore I cannot have them in the cell watering setup. But like I said, I want to up-pot them because this one is now getting towards the edge of the pot. It would be fine for one growing season, I think. But I want to do a repot anyhow because of the, like I said, the holes in the pots are not big enough for a flower spike to come through. So I didn't do my research there, I think. So I should have done put them up in a bit of different pot there. Not that these are blooming size, I think they need to be a little bit bigger, but they are beautiful growing. So I thought I will make a video about this, and we will have a look at the orchids, the roots of course, and my new setup. So we now are in the orchid room where I have my potting table and where I do all the repottings and uppottings. But this is basically the system that I came up with. I have a glass vase which has some moss and some other plants growing in it to keep the humidity quite high. And I had these baskets made with these sticks so I can hang it above the in the glass vase, so they if they would spike they can come out. But like I said in the intro, I have very tiny holes in this basket, so yeah, if it ever wanted to try to make a flower spike, it probably wouldn't come through these little tiny holes. So I knew that, but I already had them when I had them already a few months in this setup. And also they are probably a bit too small yet to bloom. So I thought I will let them grow. And once the time there is, I will repot them in a different setup. As you can see, this one is working on a new growth. And actually this one is maturing, 2 of new growths, and it is starting another one here. So this is probably a nice time to repot them, or actually uppot them. And what I came up with is a sort of similar system, but only with a bigger basket and with bigger holes in it. So I will grab my my stuff and we will start with this one.
Really,
and
seemed like he was doing it more for aesthetics, you know, for in the home, so that it looks more pleasing rather than, you know, more as it would look in nature.
And let's try to get it over the plant. This is not very handy. This is the first time that I do something like this, but here we are. I did make another round with this wire, and I have a little bit left, so I'll keep that for the last section, last round. I do not have enough, but I think it's okay. In here, right where the new roots are starting to come from that new growth, so that's a nice place to put it, I think. If it stays moist, of course, I have no idea. But like I said, we're just gonna try it and see. I really like the look of it. I really like the look of pebbles and pumice inside of the pot. It's just a personal taste, of course, but yeah, I really like it. So we have some left here. We'll put them back in. And then we can grab the pebbles. Again, we will fill it up with a top layer of pebbles. But I need more, of course, because this basket is way bigger than the previous one. Beautiful pebbles. I really like the look of it, of pebbles. Turn this a little bit. Water, but I hope I can now skip a few days when I have some water in here, so it's a sort of self-watering setup with room for spikes to come out. And like I said, if I see a spike one day appearing here, I will have it hang above the vase so the spike can develop properly, of course. So I need to keep an eye on that, but I think these guys are a little bit too young, like I said, to spike. I don't know, I'm not sure, but I think so. So that's basically it. I think it's a bit strange, but I really like the look of it. And I'm sorry, I cannot adjust the camera, but this is basically how the plant is looking like. There's an old leaf there. I could cut it off. Maybe I can break it off. Yes, that looks a little bit better. Let's throw that away. So I think this is beautiful centered in a pot. And we have some years for growth.
The best way to get the best growth and best flowers. But anyway, what I do with my Stanhopes is until they get bloom size, I pretty much just up pot them in sphagnum moss. They love moisture. This is one that I have just recently repotted, and you can see it is in sphagnum moss. This is the one that I got from Ecuador a few years ago. That was bursting out of the basket. And I always get the name confused. Oops. Let me try this again. Here's the tag. Yolanda Brack. And I am so anxious to see this bloom. But I just repotted it. And it had lots of roots. Stanhopeas like shade. In the wintertime, they like a little bit more. But for the most part, they like shade. This is one that has bloomed for me. This was the Rogue Giant. That's a Tigrina alba cross. And it is in straight sphagnum moss. This is usually when they will begin to put up their new growths, honestly, and really begin to mature them. Stanhopes, some grow all year round, and I know I have others. I mean, this is my Gongora that's in sphagnum. And let's go in here. Oops. Okay, so this is the no ID that is tagged as, Rinken, yeah, Rinkenbackiana, which we know is not. This is my Michael Bloyer. You can see all of the roots, but you can see that it's putting up growths. Here's my Tigrina Predator with the growths going all over out of the side. Pretty soon I'm gonna put this in a bigger basket, just set it into a bigger basket, like one that size or a slotted one, a square basket, like that one up there. Just set it in there and then fill it in with sphagnum. You can see this has bark in it. But until this blooms for me, I am going to leave it in sphagnum, and I'm not really gonna mess with what's inside of the pot. I'm just going to set this into and then fill around it. That's how I'm gonna do. They wanna be root bound. They don't want their roots disturbed so much. They will not bloom until their roots are filling and bursting out of whatever pot they're in. And this is gonna go in too, even though I think this can take a little bit more cool. Let me see, I don't wanna lose. Yeah, let me bring this in too. Stanhopes. Here is another Stanhopea right here. And which one is this? It's my Stevensonii crossed with Genishana. That's what it is. And this has been not too long ago repotted as well, maybe a couple of years ago. And it is just now, looks like some of the roots are starting to show through. The thing about Stanhopeas is they have to be root bound in their pot in order for them to bloom. They have to be root bound. This has a little bit of a layer of bark, but for the most part up top it's moss. And this is a cross. I'm not sure, but this is not blooming size yet. Again, I will just set that in a bigger pot and fill it in with moss. Now here's some more Stanhope types, and I can really take these out of the water because we've been getting lots of rain. Yeah, these are Gongoras. This is a Stanhopea Rinkenbackiana, and I'm gonna have to put this in a basket as well. This is in some funky sphagnum. I'll probably just leave it in, put it in fresh sphagnum, but it needs to be out of this. But you can see there's some nice roots in there. And you know what? I'm just gonna take this out and do a part 2 a little bit later, and I'll just repot that how I do it and add it on after the fact. This is another Stanhopea type that I'm just gonna point out now. This is a Paphinia, and it's doing okay. Gotta keep those growths going strong. And these are Paphinia right here. This is Lydia. No, what is that? Well, anyway, it's a Stanhopea. I think it's Doug Kennedy. And this is Paphinia crossed with a Stanhopea. And it's put up this new growth. It's in straight sphagnum moss. And it sits in shade. I, at one point in time, thought that Stanhopeas liked highlight, but Stanhopeas like shade. And Tigrina, and I think Genishana and maybe a couple others, they like a drier rest in the wintertime. They don't want to be watered too much. They don't want to dry out overly, but they get a less water. Yeah. But still, they do get a little bit of a higher light in the wintertime because, you know, the foliage on the trees is not there in the winter, but high humidity still, and that's pretty much it. Make sure they don't dry out. So anyway, I hope that was my version of how I do Stanhope types. They are worth it for sure. Although the blooms don't last long, just a day or two, but the fragrance on them is superb sometimes, not all the time. But anyway, folks, that's a long enough video for me. Enjoy your orchids.